Mr. Casmo, can you call a meeting to order?
On roll call, council members Catamagna,
Present.
Castiglia,
Here.
Conboy,
Here.
McLaughlin,
Here.
Pellegrin,
Here.
Sherwinski is absent, Mayor Moller.
Here.
Mayor, for the record, Councilman Sherwinski had a family medical issue to deal with tonight. He did indicate he's going to try to get to the meeting as soon as possible.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for our prayer and flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting which we trust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and plant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Law, State of New Jersey, requires the commencement of each meeting, a statement by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements of this meeting have been met by publishing an annual notice in the Record in the Herald News of West Patterson, and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in the public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was published on January 1, 2008. I would like all people here who have a cell phone, please put the cell phone off or put it on the vibrate mode so that we won't be interrupted with the telecast. And for that, this meeting will be televised on Channel 77, Tuesday at 2 p.m., Wednesday at 12 noon, and Friday 12:30 noon, okay, in the afternoon. This is until September 30th. Please bear with us. Cablevision gives us 6 months at a time, and then they have to redo it again, and we have to redo it. So this is going to be good for 6 months. Thank you.
Mayor, tonight on the agenda we have regular meeting minutes of May 1st, 2008, and executive session minutes of May 1st, 2008.
May I have a motion for both of those, please?
So moved.
Second.
Conboy and Pellegrin, discussion. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sherwinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 16008, reintroduce ordinance 08-5 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, entitled Traffic, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that the final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 5th, 2008, at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it
May I
further
have a
resolved.
motion, please?
So moved.
Ms. Pellegrin, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Catamagna, discussion. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sherwinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 16108, reintroduce ordinance 08-6 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, entitled Zoning and Site Plan Review, by deleting section 34-44.3D.3 and replacing it with a new section 34-44.3D3, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 5th at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Castiglia, second.
Second.
Mr. Conboy, discussion. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sherwinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 14408, introduce 08-9 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the improvement of Kip Avenue, Section 1, in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $310,000 to pay the cost thereof, and make a down payment to appropriate a federal grant to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond appropriation notes in anticipation of such bond. And whereas an ordinance was introduced and passed at the meeting held on Thursday, May 1st, 2008, and further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. Whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the improvement of Kip Avenue, Section 1, in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $310,000 to pay for the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to appropriate a federal grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond appropriation notes in anticipation of such bonds. Pass on final reading. Mayor, we need a public hearing on this
Yes,
ordinance.
may I open it to the public? If there's anyone who wishes to be heard on this ordinance, this is the paving a portion of Kip Avenue. It's not coming out of tax dollars. It was a community development grant that we received last year. Fortunately, Mr. Kazmark and I were working on looking at various grants that were given to us last year, and this was never fulfilled by the last engineer we had, and we were lucky to get it in before they canceled it. So it's a $205,000 grant that we received. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? If not, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Ms. Pellegrin, second. Mr. Conboy, discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Scaramaglia,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Truinski is absent. Motion carries.
Just for the sake of the people here, this is the second such CD grant that was mishandled last year. Mr. McLaughlin and I went down to community development meeting this year to receive the 208 grant of $92,000, 97,000, no, 92, I'm sorry. So that's $292,000 that we almost missed, but we have that grant in hand now to pave some roads. The $92,000 is going to pave Shobot Lane.
Resolution 14508, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following bills be approved for payment, and that after the vouchers have been signed by the necessary chairman, the collector treasurer shall issue warrants in payment thereof when there is sufficient funds available to meet them.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Pellegrin, Conboy, discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Scaramaglia,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Truinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 14608, whereas it was necessary to issue certain checks to carry on the order of business, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the action of the Mayor, Clerk, and Treasurer in issuing the following checks be confirmed.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Pellegrin, Conboy, discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Scaramaglia,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Truinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 14708, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following payrolls be approved for payment when there are sufficient funds to meet them, and the same are hereby approved.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Pellegrin, Conboy, discussion? Call the roll.
Councilmembers Scaramaglia,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Truinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 14808, whereas there exists a need for the County of Bergen Office of Emergency Management, Department of Public Safety, to provide an automated telephone alerting system service, herein called System, to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and all days per year to the 70 municipalities comprising the County of Bergen. And whereas the Bergen County Board of Chosen Freeholders adopted Resolution Number 147 on February 20th, 2008, authorizing the county to award a purchase contract to C3 Citizen Communication Center, 155 Franklin Avenue, Nutley, New Jersey, to provide the above referenced system to those municipalities so desiring. And whereas the municipality wishes to utilize such a system for the benefit of its citizens, and whereas an agreement is necessary to delineate the respective responsibilities of the parties in connection therewithin. And whereas the county shall pay 100% of the cost of initial installation, testing, training of the system, and whereas the municipality shall pay the combined costs of the combination of options as outlined above in the corresponding subsequent agreements with the County of Bergen. Now therefore be it resolved that the municipality be and is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with the County of Bergen to utilize an automated telephone alerting system service at a time during the county's contract period with the service provider, March 1st, 2008 through February 29th, 2008, with an adoption for one additional year. Be it further resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park be and is hereby authorized to execute said agreement in the form to be approved by the municipal attorney.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Second. Conboy, discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the reverse 911. If we have an emergency in the borough and we want to contact the entire town or a portion of the town, this allows us to do that. We don't pay for the system. If phone calls are made, we pay a fee for each phone call. But I think we only used it once last year, and it was only for a quarter of the town. I'm not sure, but about that. But it's always good to have in case there's an absolute emergency. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catania,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sherwinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 14908. Whereas certain federal funds are potentially available to the County of Bergen under Title I of the Housing Community Development Act of 1974, as amended, and Home Investment Partnership Act of 1990, as amended. And whereas the current interlocal services agreement contains an automatic renewal clause to expedite the notification of the inclusion process, and whereas by May 23, 2008, each municipality must notify the Bergen County Division of Community Development of its intent to continue as a participant in the Urban County Entitlement Program noted above. And whereas it is in the best interest of the Borough of Elmwood Park and its residents to participate in said program. Now therefore be it resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Bergen County Division of Community Development no later than May 23, 2008.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Pellegrin,
Second.
Conboy, discussion. Call the roll.
Council members Catania,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sherwinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 15008. Whereas the tax collector of the Borough of Elmwood Park has determined that the mailing of third quarter Borough of Elmwood Park tax bills will be ready for mailing on or about June 14, 2008. And whereas the tax collector and the chief financial officer have determined that an estimated third quarter tax bill is economically feasible and prudent to the fiscal stability of the borough, using an estimated rate of 2.26, which constitutes a 1.05% increase from certified tax 2007 levy. And whereas once the Borough of Elmwood Park receives the County Board of Taxation a certified rate for the calendar year 2008, the tax collector shall forthwith reconcile and prepare fourth quarter reconciled tax bills and estimated first and second quarter for 2009. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the tax collector is hereby authorized to prepare and mail estimated third quarter tax bills.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Pellegrin, second. Mr. Conboy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not your last tax bill. It's an estimated tax bill because the budget for Elmwood Park, as most communities, if not all communities in Bergen County, has not been approved by the Division of Local Finance yet. That will come out somewhere in June or July, late June, early July. So this is going to be an estimated tax bill to allow us to collect taxes from you, and it will be adjusted on the next bill. If we don't do something like this, then we have to go out and borrow money to pay for our expenditures, and then we pay an interest on that. So one year we paid about $12,000 to $15,000 in interest because we didn't do this. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catania,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Sherwinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 15108. Whereas Miss Agatha Sapinski, 282 Orchard Street, has a road permit account 776-0155-220 in the amount of $1,400 and account number 776-0155-225 in the amount of $476.50 engineers accounts. And whereas a certificate of occupancy has been released, and the borough engineer has also released all attachments inclusive of acceptance of the site work. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the Chief Financial Officer be, and he is hereby authorized to issue two checks, one in the amount of $1,400, the second in the amount of $476.50, made payable to Agatha Sapinski of 282 Orchard Street in the Borough of Elmwood Park.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Pellegrin and Mr. Castiglia, discussion. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catania,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Truinski is absent, motion carries. Resolution 15208, whereas in accordance with RS 39:10A-1, the mayor and council of the Borough of Elmwood Park hereby authorize a public auction of borough vehicles, and whereas said auction shall be held in the Department of Public Works yard on June 21st, 2008 at 8 a.m., and whereas the following may be inspected at the Department of Public Works yard on June 19th between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., and on June 20th between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Mr. Kazmark, instead of listing all the vehicles that are going to be auctioned off, I would recommend that anyone watching this or anyone here, if you're interested in purchasing any of these older vehicles, some of them are usable, some of them are not, contact the clerk's office and he will email you that or fax it to you or whatever. Okay?
Now, therefore-
Let me have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Ms. Pellegrini, second by Mr. Conboy. Any discussion? I have discussion. I just said I'm not going to read it, but I do want everyone here to know there are 100 miscellaneous bicycles that'll be offered, a bid of $1 each. So there are bicycles. If any of the children are looking for a bicycle, you can come down and bid on them. They're $1 each. Council is using them, saving on some gas. Mr. Kazmark's coming from his home on a tandem bicycle, and I'm on the back.
How many miles a year? How many miles a year for a gallon?
How many miles?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a mile of perspiration per gallon. Yeah. Call the roll, please.
Mayor, just for the record, this will also be duly advertised in the Bergen Record.
It's in the record, too. Thank you, Mr. Kazmark.
Council members, Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Truinski is absent, motion carries. Resolution 15308, whereas St. Leo's RC Church did make application to the Division of Alcohol and Beverage Control for a special permit for social affairs in conjunction with a casino night to be held in St. Leo's School Auditorium located at 300 Market Street. And whereas the proceeds from the aforesaid event will benefit the students of St. Leo's School. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that permission be granted for the aforesaid event.
Motion, please.
So moved?
Second.
Conboy and Mr. Castiglia, discussion. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia? Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Truinski is absent, motion carries. Resolution 15408, whereas St. Leo's Church will hold their annual Family Festival on September 4th through September 7th, 2008, and whereas St. Leo's would like to hang a banner across Market Street to advertise the event beginning July 14th, 2008 through the close of the festival on September 7th, and whereas St. Leo's would also request the use of the borough's grandstand for said event. Whereas permission has been granted in the past, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council that the approval be granted for the aforesaid request.
Motion, please.
So
So
moved.
moved?
Mr. Conboy, Ms. Pellegrini, discussion?
I heard they're going to bring back the same guy to make the Zeppelis again.
Yes, anybody here who wants to attend that festival, yours truly will be serving the Zeppelis, the largest vending area, making more money than anyone else. Is that right?
That's right. We ranked, we're top notch.
I've got sweet fingers. So,
20 people in that also, right?
seriously, it's a good time is always
How'd
had.
you do?
Well, some of those Zeppelis sink to the
A little
bottom.
less levity on the council, please. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Truinski is absent, motion carries. Resolution 15508, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the veterans of Foreign War Post 5084 be granted permission to sell Buddy Poppies during the month of May until Memorial Day at local banks and stores.
Motion, please.
moved.
Second.
Mr. McLaughlin, second. Ms. Pellegrini, discussion. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Truinski is absent, motion carries. Resolution 15608, whereas Empire Overall, 18 Stephanic Avenue, Elmwood Park, New Jersey, has paid its trunk sewer bill in full for 2008. Whereas the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission has accepted the ceased operations and will no longer be discharging into the sewer as of a memo dated May 6, 2008. And now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the Chief Financial Officer shall issue a check payable to Empire Overall for the balance of the remaining 2008 fees of $2,618.79.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
Pellegrini and Conboy, discussion. Call the roll.
Council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy? Yes. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Truinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 15708, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, the Borough Treasurer be, and he is hereby authorized to issue a check in the amount of $158.33 as a refund for overpayment of a water bill to Peter Blitz of 113 Corey Lane, Elmwood Park.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Pellegrini, Conboy, discussion. Call the roll, please.
Council members Caramagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy? Yes. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Truinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 15808, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following change order 1 and 2 final are in the same, is hereby approved. Contractor is Alnido Contractors Incorporated. Project is for the streetscape improvements to Market Street. Original contract price, $451,610. Change orders to date, $81,750.06. Revised contract price, $533,360.06. This reflects it just over an 18% change of the original contract price. So we are under the 20%.
Are you sure of that, Mr. Kelly?
I did the math myself this time.
We have two members of the audience with calculators in their heads, and they do it, just one.
18.1%.
Are we okay?
We are.
Yeah? Call the roll.
Council-
Motion,
So moved.
please. Ms. Pellegrini, second.
Second.
Mr. Castiglia, discussion. Call the roll.
Council members.
Excuse me, I'd just like to comment on this if I
Yes.
may for a minute. I just want the public here to know tonight that's here and watching, we have spent, myself and Councilman Chewinski, along with the council as well in our work meetings, we've scrutinized these changes quite a bit. And we're still unsatisfied with some of the answers we've gotten from our previous engineer, who's kind of left us kind of holding the bag, I guess, a little bit here. But I do want the folks to know that here, and the ones that will see this on TV, we did heavily scrutinize this, and we do find ourselves in an interesting, unfortunate position to move forward with the streetscapes and to do any changes we want to do after the fact. We have to let this go through. But I think the council, I don't know, hopefully my fellow council people feel the same on this as well. So just want everyone to know that we did scrutinize it pretty hard.
Thank you.
Although, Mayor, I want to make a little comment here. Who designed this streetscape at Market Street? Who designed it originally?
Boswell Engineering.
So we blame T&M. I mean, I don't care. I don't take side. I don't even know T&M that well. But we always blame them for everything. But we have a bumps that causing trouble to some people's houses, and we blame again the T&M for the bump. It's not. According to Boswell, it was done the correct way, according to the design. So we should stop really hammering T&M over and over again. Okay, that's all I want to say.
Well,
Thank
you know, Councilman Caramay, they designed it. They designed it to spec the way the DOT has told them it to be done. It's done the same way, in the same specs in other boroughs. We've all discussed that together. We've all driven over these bumps in our own town, and we also went on a little trip of our own individually and checked out other bumps in town. Talking about bumps. But this bill was not scrutinized over the bumps, folks. This bill was scrutinized that Councilman Catamang has left off for the scrutiny here. Work was done. We haven't gotten any answers on who authorized it. Those two police lights you see out in front of our borough, that cost us all over $8,000, right, folks? Right?
That's right.
Thousands of dollars for a footing. I mean, and when you talk with our police chief, he didn't even want those two lights. So I'm not picking on T&M per se. I wasn't on the council then. I don't know who approved all that work. But there are things in this thing that we're not even talking about the speed bumps. We need to correct that for our residents that are affected in that area. That's why we have to approve this so we can move forward to better the quality of life for those residents in that area. But as it's been discussed, those bumps were done to spec. And so I'm not blaming T&M for that, or Boswell. It's all the other work that's cost this borough. Sorry.
No, I agree with you about the spend. I agree with that. Those two lights are very expensive.
Excuse me?
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
yes,
Truinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 15908, whereas the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that one-third of all crashes on our nation's roadways and two-thirds of the resulting fatal crashes can be attributed to aggressive driving. And whereas New Jersey ranks ninth in the nation in population and is in fact the most densely populated state with a vast system of local, county, and state and federal roadways and highways. And whereas, according to the Census 2000 figures, New Jersey's population increased 9% between 1990 and 2000, from 7.7 million to 8.4 million, causing more traffic congestion. And whereas aggressive driving behaviors contribute greatly to the number of injury and property damage motor vehicle crashes that happen in New Jersey each year. And in 2007, 22,839 crashes were speed-related, and 166 of those crashes resulted in fatalities. And whereas the State of New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety has asked law enforcement agencies to participate in the FY 2008 Speed Aggressive Driving Grant, Obey the Signs or Pay the Fines. And whereas the project will involve increased aggressive driving enforcement from July 1st to July 31st, 2008. And whereas an increase in aggressive driving enforcement and a reduction in aggressive driving will save lives on our roadways. Therefore, be it resolved that the Borough of Elmwood Park declares its support for the 2008 Speed Aggressive Driving Grant, Obey the Signs or Pay the Fines, from July 1st to July 30th, 2008, and pledges to increase awareness of the dangers of aggressive driving.
Motion, please.
so moved,
Second.
Pellegrin, Conboy, discussion? On the lowering of some of the speeding cars in Elmwood Park, please be informed that the council has purchased 3 radar units. They're square boxes about so big. And they'll be erected on 9 poles. We have 3 of those units, but we bought 9 posts. They are movable. And the police will tell the DPW when and where they want to move so that they can hit various areas in Elmwood Park. It'll tell the driver how fast they're going. It will have a computer in it that will tell the police how many cars have passed it, what the average speed of the car was, and at what time in the day was the greatest speed over that particular area. This will allow the police, if the police chief feels that it's necessary, to station a police officer there and round up some of the people who are speeding through there. So there are 3 units and 9 places that we can install them, and they are interchangeable. If it works out well, it costs $4,000 each, which is not a very significant price for these useful items. If it works out well, maybe the council may purchase a couple more and place them around in other areas. We'll see how it works. Call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
yes,
Truinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 16208. Whereas the district tax levy for the general fund portion of the 2008-2009 budget of the Board of Education of the Borough of Elmwood Park in the amount of $26,480,937 was defeated by the voters of the Borough of Elmwood Park at the annual school election held on April 15, 2008. And whereas, pursuant to NJSA 18A:22-37, the borough's governing body did receive the proposed school budget and has consulted with representatives of the Board of Education to discuss the proposed 2008-2009 school budget. And whereas the Borough Council did review the 2008-2009 budget and has identified recommendations and justification for reduction in the amount of $800,000 in the general fund budget tax levy for 0809 as detailed on Appendix A attached hereto. Now therefore be it resolved that the governing body of the Borough of Elmwood Park does hereby certify to the Bergen County Board of Taxation that the amount necessary to be levied for the general fund budget to provide a thorough and efficient education for the Borough of Elmwood Park School District for the school year 2008-2009 is $25,680,937. Be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution shall be forwarded forthwith to the Bergen County Board of Taxation, the Bergen County Superintendent of Schools, the Elmwood Park Board of Education, and the Municipal Clerk of the Borough of Elmwood Park.
Motion, please.
so moved,
Pellegrin, second. Castiglia, discussion? Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna,
I cannot vote for this, as I am an employee of the Board of Education.
abstain. Council members Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin. Chawinski is absent. Motion carries. Resolution 16308. Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, recognize the need to appoint a real estate appraiser to conduct the necessary appraisal at 206 Van Riper Avenue, Block 1401, Lot 5, within the Borough of Elmwood Park. And whereas the mayor and council, through the municipal clerk, solicited proposals for this service. And whereas the Borough of Elmwood Park received 3 proposals in response to this request. And whereas the proposals were reviewed by the municipal clerk and evaluated by the mayor and council to determine if the responses met the needs of the borough. And whereas Mr. Richard Moore of 51 Lexington Avenue, Patterson, New Jersey, submitted the lowest quote for said services. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, do hereby secure the services of Richard Moore of 51 Lexington Avenue, Patterson, New Jersey, to provide appraisal services to the borough at 206 Van Riper Avenue, Block 1401, Lot 5, not to exceed $700.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Pellegrin, second.
Second.
Mr. Conboy, discussion? Mr. Kazmark, we also discussed that small piece of property off the boulevard that we were going to ask him to appraise. That's not included in here. We're going to do that at the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
There isn't, Mayor, just for the council's edification, we do need to discuss that a little further because it's not owned by the borough.
Okay.
And I needed to get some information from the borough attorney to pass on to the proposed appraiser before we can move forward
All right,
on
we
that
have to take
resolution.
possession of that property, and it's not being used for anything, and if any of the neighbors want it, they can bid on it. That would be fine. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna,
Yes.
Castillo,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Chawinski is absent. Motion carries. Mayor, we also have reports from the Recreation Department tonight.
May I have a motion, receive and file?
So moved.
Mr. McLaughlin, Mr. Conboy, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. Mr. Catamagna, committee report.
Yes, last committee report, it says Councilman Caramagna report that he spoke to Mr. Thompson. No, I spoke to Mr. Semicola regarding the drunk and drive program they have in school. Speaking about the drunk and driving, on May 21st, again, one more time, they will repeat at the high school, on the field, on the football field, the same thing they did last year. This time they have a real doctor there. It's Dr. Locorto from from the Hackensack Hospital. He has a lot of experience with this, to deal with this. And also, I said to the mayor council that these people should be recognized. They should be given a proclamation, perhaps, to those who organize this, and also to the actors, the students, some staff. And also, I have from the fire department, as you all know, there would be a ceremony on May 26th at 9:30. I guess it would be on Moller Drive. You're invited to attend, and afterwards would be some refreshments. Fire department, I guess would be fire number 1. Okay, also I have a concern, Mayor. I mentioned to you to close the meeting last week that Gilbert Avenue from, let's say, Spidell to Elm, it's one way, then it becomes 2 ways. Early in the morning, one of these days, I expect something terrible to happen because parents in the morning, they drop off their kids right in the middle between Elm and River Drive. And people, what they do, drop off their kids, and then they make a U-turn. And this is a 2-way street. They make a U-turn. It happens that many people try to pass those parents who are parked there when they drop off the kids. And while they make U-turn, an accident is just about ready to happen because I pray every single morning that nothing happens. It's very dangerous. something should be studied. I asked Mr. McLaughlin if he spoke to the chief. Did you speak, Jack?
No, I didn't. I forgot about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, something should be taken care. I think it's a problem because that's on the street. I don't think it's a school problem.
I will do that tomorrow, and if I forget Mr. McLaughlin, who's the liaison to the police department, and let the chief devise something. We usually, I wouldn't say usually, but we often have a police officer there. We have a school crossing guard there too, and yet people are still making a U-turn and going back out east on Gilbert Avenue. Is that what you said?
We don't have a crossing guard. The crossing guard is at Spidell. We talk about down below, Elm Street toward the river.
Oh, okay, all the way down. Okay.
Yeah, all the way down.
Near the high school.
Really,
Okay.
it's the traffic is terrible, and also people are in a hurry. They pass those cars, and others make U-turn.
Okay.
And others come from River Drive. It is a mess there early in the morning.
Elm
Maybe
and
the chief
Gilbert,
should look
right?
at it.
Okay, we'll have.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing else.
And it'll get worse, Frank, because we're supposed to be paving that portion of Elm Street between Falmouth Avenue and Gilbert, so that's going to be smoother, and they'll do some other silly things.
You think that they could be postponed, maybe, that spot,
They what?
until the end of the school year?
No, I don't think it's going to be
No?
done before the end of the school. Early summer, I think. We still have to get the bid on it.
So maybe after school.
Yeah, we can, but I'll bring this up to the police.
Okay, Mayor,
I'm
thanks.
sorry, I forgot about it. Anything else, Mr. Catamani? No? Mr. Conboy?
Okay, some updates in our recreation area. I'm very excited to continue to announce to everybody we are finally getting much, much closer to the installation of our new lights around the Borough Field, the Major League Field that's fenced in. As I mentioned before, at our last public meeting, many of us went out, many of the council folks with our engineers and so forth and rec personnel and some other officials from the different leagues that use that field. We had a meeting regarding the poles and where lights were going to be going. We also, I believe on Monday, there was a pre-construction meeting. I spoke with our rec director. They are ready to move forward very quickly. And we keep getting reassured by everybody that everybody involved, all the professionals and so forth, that when they're ready to start the new lights, there'll be no interruption of the new lights, or, converting over from the old lights, because that will all be done during the day. I know that's very important due to the fact that a lot of our youth will be at that time will be participating in their tournaments. So we're working on that, and that's moving along very, very well and very quick. Boswell is taking the lead on it, and it is going quick. Also, we are, for anybody in the audience and anyone watching on TV whose daughters play softball, there is finally some light at the end of the pipe, per se, in the ladies' and the girls' bathroom over there by the rec. We already approved a plumber to go in there and fix that problem, and we have a backup to it if it does not solve the problem, but we believe the new toilet we're putting in there will do the trick. Also want to remind everybody a lot of things that are happening over at the rec. Community Day is coming up real quick. You've seen the signs that are out there on the fences. That's June 7th. Before you know it, it'll be time to turn the water park on. I encourage everyone here. Everyone, I just heard today on the news, many families are shortening now their vacation and so forth, canceling some things due to the price of gas. The water park is a great place to spend a Saturday afternoon, so think about that. Registrations are ongoing right now in many different sports. They'll still take folks for tennis. Tennis is going very successful. The cheer clinic just started. Any girls that are interested can still sign up. Soccer, again, keep checking the backpack. I believe the flyers are going out this week if they haven't already. Football, bombers, and cheerleaders, signs are hanging. They've already started their registrations. Our next rec meeting, which is open to the public, I encourage anyone who has anything that concerns our parks and recreation to come to the meeting. It's next Wednesday. It starts at 7:30, and it's in the senior lounge room. From a finance department area, I have been speaking with our CFO over the last couple of days. We are beginning to get closer to our dates that are coming in. I've asked our CFO to put together for the council upcoming timeline of dates that we should definitely make sure that's on our radar. As we already know, I asked him for an updated list so that we are ready and prepared to make any adjustments to our budget that we need to. As I've been mentioning all along, since January, we've taken an aggressive approach to it. Just recently, the council together, working together on the budget, reviewed such items as our borough vehicles. Can we reduce that? How can we change things? Our gas bills, mileage, and what we're getting per car, everything else. Who's using what trucks are we filling up? Whole range of things, folks. I may seem like I'm going on a little bit, but I want everyone here to understand and also feel some reassurance that we are looking at this. I would probably think this is the most budget meetings we've probably had in a long time. So we are definitely all looking at it together. So Roy, our CFO, will be providing that information to us as well. And something else that we're looking towards as a group here, it's not just this budget, we're looking forward to 09, 10, and 11, so we can get in a better place as we move forward as the time goes on. Also want to report, I was able to catch the tail end of the Board of Health meeting on Monday, and I want to just commend the board. They worked very hard on putting together new fee structures that we've spoken about together in the budget area, meeting with the Board of Health and so forth. So they did a real nice job there with adjusting their fees. Also want to remind everybody, since we won't see you again or talk to you on Beyond TV until probably after Memorial Day, come on out, enjoy the parade. Everybody knows the parade route by now, I would think. Also, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy Memorial Day weekend, safe travels, watch the roads, and keep in our prayers our past military personnel and our current men and women that are servicing all throughout the world for us today. So thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Mr. McLaughlin, thank you, Mr.
Good evening, everyone. I had a meeting with our police department, our chief, and some of the brass, and I guess we are all concerned with the price of gas. So the police and the deputy chief met with some of the staff. This year we purchased a hybrid vehicle, for the police department. It's a Ford Escape. It's first time used in our town. They've used them in a few other towns in Bergen County with very, very great success. We're going to try one at least. The 3 motorcycles will be on the road now starting next week for the rest of the season. That usually comes up to October, middle October. And the policemen have been instructed to turn off their vehicles when not in use. Even though there's summer to keep the air conditioning going, we turn them off. And during the overnight shift, instead of having 4 cars on the road, when we have a full complement and when there's no one out sick or on vacation, they plan to do 3 cars with 2 policemen in 1 car in the busiest section, which is usually at the north. So they have 2 people up, 2 policemen in 1 car to save 1 car. And doing this maybe with, in all, we hope in the police department alone to save 10% of the gas usage from previous 4-month periods. And if we can do that, that would be definitely a blessing for the town as far as the monies are concerned. Thank you, Mayor.
Jack?
Yes.
Listen, we used to use bicycles. What happened to those bikes? You know, they were expensive.
Yes, they will be used.
They could save a lot of money.
They were using the bicycles too.
Summer's here. No?
They're using them, particularly when Tom goes with his recreation programs around where the kids are. The bikes are much, much more doable. They will be using them though. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Ms. Pellegrini?
Just a couple of things. I just want to remind everybody that the next homeowners meeting is May 28th at 7:30 on a Wednesday. This is an especially important meeting. They invited Senator Bob Gordon to attend, and he'll be able to answer possibly some questions on the state aid being cut. So if you can make it, it's important to be there. Also, I'm the liaison to the ambulance. I just want to remind everybody that their 4th annual car show is Sunday, June 1st from 10 to 3. The rain date will be June 8th on a Sunday also. They're still looking if anyone wants to donate anything or volunteer their time to help on that day. It's in the Kmart parking lot. And if you just want to help serve food or whatever you can do for us, they would really appreciate it. The number, if you want to call and volunteer, is 201-796-8077. There's going to be over 100 door prizes. It's $1 admission. They really need our support, so even if you show up just for an hour or so with your family, they would greatly appreciate that. Also, I attended the fire meeting on Monday evening. They have very interesting meetings. They talk about their budgets. They're a very informative group. And this year, our fire department, the Elm Park Fire Department, is celebrating their 100th anniversary. So they'll be carrying a banner in the parade saying that, and maybe when they pass, we can give them an extra round of applause. These lady and gentlemen really, really do risk their lives to save ours. So it's really important we acknowledge them, especially this year. There's some problems on the outside at the exterior of this building with lighting. I talked to the DPW superintendent today, Scott Cars, and he has talked to an electrician, and they will be dealt with very shortly. So those of you passing at night that are letting us know of this problem, it is going to be addressed very shortly. And also, in honor of the Memorial Day Parade, the DPW also will be planting flowers around our building here and around the memorials in town to show our respect for all those who served and gave up their lives for us for freedom. So we appreciate all that they're doing. And that's it. Progress.
Thank you, Ms. Pellegrini. Mr. Castiglia?
Okay, Lorraine mentioned the lights outside the building. I was talking to Scott today.
Okay.
It's a blown timer. The timer is supposed to be in, hopefully, tomorrow.
Okay, good.
So the lights should be back on by this weekend. So when you're leaving, be careful because it's dark out there. All the lights on the outside of the building are out. Contractor also has been set to do the waterproofing down in the police department. Scott Cars from the DPW is scheduling the work. It's going to take them about 2 days. So they have to come in at a time, believe it or not, when the police department isn't that busy down there. It's the detectives bureau. So they're going to have to move them out of that room and work in there for 2 days. So they're trying to schedule that. They had water coming in through the wall out here for quite a while. As far as planning board goes, there's a few new places came into town. That vacuum cleaner shop. Everybody remember Sam's Bicycles up on Broadway? There was a vacuum cleaner shop in there. It's been closed for a while. That's reopening. Different owners, but it's going to be opening up there. I think it was a Kirby Vacuum Cleaners or something before. The old Finetex building on the end of Falmouth Avenue. That's down by the railroad tracks. It's being taken over by a company called, I hope I get it right, Recycle Tech. Now, the rumors are going to be flying. They don't do any recycling there. We're not going to have any recycling done on this site in the town. What they do mainly, everybody knows when you open your packages, when you get delivered to the house, there's those little white peanuts in there. You know, always a pain to try to get rid of them. This company found a way they're going to be recycling these things. I don't know, make benches out of them, something like that. But what they do is, they do final assembly on machines there. It's companies that buy these machines to do the recycling. They don't do any recycling. They won't be doing any recycling on Falmouth Avenue. So in case you hear any rumors on that, we got all the literature on the machines. I think they're made in Europe, so basically all they do is do the final assembly, test run the machines, and then they send them out to the people that bought them, the companies that bought them, so there won't be any recycling then. Let me see what else we have. Yeah, the next one the mayor was kind of excited about. You know what I'm talking about, right, Mel? The hair club for men is coming in down in that new building by Hillman's Golf Land. So in case anybody's interested in that, they don't do any transplants here though. You got to go to Manhattan for that. This is just consultation.
You're not a hurry guy.
Mr. Castiglia didn't mention that I abstained on that because as soon as they said the hair something for men, I said I vote in favor of it before they even gave the application out. So I had to abstain on it since I revealed my vote.
Lastly is the big one, the 7-Eleven. Not the one on Route 46, the one that was denied on the boulevard in Market Street a couple of years ago, I guess 2-3 years ago. I guess everybody knows by now it went to court in Hackensack, and the first judge agreed with us, and they weren't coming in. So they appealed that decision, and the second judge decided that, yeah, they can put a 7-Eleven on the corner there. So it gets kicked back to us again at the planning board. So we had it Wednesday night. We really can't deny that application once it's determined by a judge that the building is going there. So it comes back to us as the planning board. All we can do really is put a bunch of stipulations on the resolution, making sure that they're doing things the way we want them done, as much as we can anyway, within the law. We have some fencing put up, we have some landscaping put up. One of the important things is that they won't be able to make any left turns coming out onto the boulevard.
That was my main problem with it right from the very beginning. It's so close to that intersection. The exits entrances and exits for that parking lot were too close to that corner. That's what I didn't like about it. But now they'll have to be making right turns out onto the boulevard. They can't make any left. That's one of the stipulations. There was a whole list of stipulations the attorney read through for 5 minutes. So I don't remember. I don't have it here. And it's going to be there eventually, I guess. But that's about it, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Giblin?
Thank you, Mayor. I have two things to report. First,
You can speak in.
thank you, Mayor. I think I
No?
have to leave
Okay.
it up. I wanted to report to the council that we completed the County Tax Board appeals this week for all of the 2007 tax appeals. I think the hearings went very well, and we're waiting for the judgments, which should take 30 to 60 days. In addition, Mayor, we've had a full day of hearings now on a case that was brought by our building department against a property owner for an illegal apartment. I think that's going very well. Also, there will be probably one more day of hearing, and if the property owner is convicted of maintaining that illegal apartment, the fine will be a minimum $7,500. So I'll report to the council how that turns out.
Mr. Giblin, will you please repeat that loud for everybody? Illegal apartment?
Yes, Mayor.
What's the fine?
The fine is $7,500.
That was increased a few years ago. It was significantly lower, and at that time we felt that if you have a $1,000 fine and you're renting an illegal apartment for 6 months, you're making $6,000. You pay $1,000, you're making $5,000, and then you do it again if we don't catch it the second time. So we wanted to, excuse the vernacular, we wanted to nail them the first time, $7,500, and that's going to be the fine that you have to pay if you're caught with an illegal apartment. If any of you have any ideas or thoughts of somebody in your neighborhood who has an illegal apartment, call my office. It's confidential. You can give me your name and phone number. We will contact you if, in fact, it is illegal. Many times they're not illegal, and if we don't have a method to get back to you, you're going to think that we didn't do anything about it. So give us your name and address. Remains in my office. We'll get back to you on that. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Giblin.
Thank you.
I just have a few things. A meeting is being set up. It'll be in the afternoon for the council. I don't have a date yet to meet with someone from the Department of Transportation. I mentioned to this council a while back that we have parking for the railroad on East 55th Street, and I think it only goes up to 16th Avenue now. They may want to extend it all the way down to 18th Avenue so that we can get more cars parked there for people using the train, and I suspect that's going to be more and more. We get paid for that. We're going to increase the cost of getting those parking spaces. It's almost free now, and we're just going to increase a little bit, then we take care of it. And I'm trying, gentlemen and lady, I'm trying to, if this goes through, that maybe the state can pave East 55th Street for us while they fix up the new area. So that will be forthcoming. He is going to set up the meeting with us. For those of you here and watching, the police department is checking for anybody fixing a house, putting a new sidewalk in, putting steps in front of the house, any kind of work with with the building department, checking to see if they have a permit on the house. If they don't have a permit, they're just jotting the name down. The police aren't going to go over and get into a confrontation. They're just going to jot the name down, give it in to the building department for Monday, and they will see if there is a permit issued, and then they'll go out and stop it. There's a lot of illegal work. We've already caught 2 or 3 people who have failed to go in for building permits. They come in on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and then disperse after that, and we don't have any idea. I went over to Kip Avenue. We found $207,000 there. The Boulevard and Route 46, I may have mentioned at the last meeting, those railroad tracks have been closed off. It's called exempt, which means that a school bus or a truck, a truck carrying flammable liquids would not have to stop at that railroad station. They can go right through. No train is going to be going through there. That's 46 and the Boulevard close to 46. I'm working on Market Street to see if we can get that one exempt, but I think that's going to take even longer. The Chrysler Industries, that is the firm on Van Riper Avenue, just opposite the firehouse on a boulevard. If you make a quick right turn, that's Van Riper Avenue. We have an old building there that's still being worked on for items that are contaminated. They're getting DEP grants. It's been a long time. We're trying to finish that up. They're getting DEP grants to clean that property up. But in the meantime, we've gotten permission to rent the parking spaces out in front of that property. And Chrysler Industries has been using it, and they've been satisfied with our proposal, and they're going to be renting those parking spaces until we decide what's going to happen with the building itself. So we're making some money on that. I don't know if anybody here has noticed, but the streetscape is finished. That is the paving of Market Street from in front of this building down to, I think, Beach Street. But when I went home last night, and I've seen this before, and just forget about it, we have the decorative poles with the nice little globe on top, and then we have the street lights on top of those. So when you go down Market Street, you've got all the lights on, you can't see the decorative poles. I have a call into public service now asking them to shut the lights that are usually on top so that it looks nice when you go down and you just see the decorative lighting. Otherwise, we're paying for two of them and we don't need it. And we pay about $8 to $10 for each pole, each light that we have. So, by the way, we pay for that whether they're on or not. It's $8. So if you see a light on during the day, we're still paying only $8 for it. The spray ground was mentioned by Mr. Conboy. If you're worried about recycling of water, that spray ground doesn't have a swimming pool underneath it if you haven't seen it. Just takes the water that comes down from all the various faucets and types of outlets for the water. It goes down maybe a half inch, quarter inch of water. It goes into the drains and is recycled and pumped back up again. So there isn't any possibility of any child drowning in that area or anything like that. There isn't that kind of water. And please keep in mind about estimated tax bill that was mentioned. It's only estimated. It has to be revised after the budget is passed. Mr. McLaughlin has mentioned various ways the police chief is going to try to save some money with the vehicles and save some gas. I've suggested maybe we can have some of the patrolmen get out for an hour and do some walking. Not too far from the car, but walking in the area. I don't know how much progress I'm making on that one, but it may be a good idea. You know, you don't want them too far away from the vehicle, but if he can walk around in the area, I think some of the fellas and ladies down in the police department exercise their legs a little bit and meet some of the residents of the community. So we'll try. If the police chief thinks it's a good idea, maybe we'll do it. If there's no one else, no other report, I'll open up to the public. Anyone in the public wishes to be heard, please step to the microphone and give us your name and address.
Good evening, Ray Nangle, 132 Fensack Avenue. Just here to discuss the defeated budget again, and I know you voted to cut $800,000 from that budget. And I just you know, and nobody does anything with ill will towards the children of the community, but as much information that was put out as far as how much, as a town, we were underspending per student, $1,700 last year. If the budget had passed and everything had stayed in place, it still would have been underfunded by $1,380 per student. The best accounting practices that are exercised in all forms of government and boards call for some sort of surplus. There was no surplus in this budget. Okay? I know the mayor has always pointed out to us that the Bergen County academies operate every year with a zero surplus, but they're allowed to do that because they can get the money, they can just tax the different districts as needs arise. But the children of this community deserve. And again, you know, I know auditors went over it. They found cuts that could be made on line items. Now, and with 1701, it's very hard to do transfers from one line item to the other one, and that's now in effect 3 years. But with enhancement programs, and every year everybody says, well, they cut $1 million. I think it was $1 million last year, and the year before it was $850,000. The statements I hear is that, well, the schools still survive. Yes, but they can never offer No Child Left Behind is a great program in theory. Unfortunately, it's not funded by the government, okay? So we're required to make sure that everybody meets these test scores. And what happens is when the cuts come that are made, and you didn't vote the budget down. I mean, the community voted the budget down by 26 votes. You feel obligated to take $800,000. But when we're supposed to make sure that every child passes these tests by 2010. And I say we, as a member of the community, I'm no longer a member of the Board of Education. But it's required, or you're going to be put on this list. Oh, it's terrible to be on this. But what needs to be happening? We have such a transient student population where there's so much turnover because of the apartments and everything else, that when a student comes in the district, we need to be able to test those students immediately and find out where they are, rather than, and we had students this past year coming in January and February that are taking the test in March, and their scores will be posted with our score, the results next year that are published, that we are judged on, or the Elmwood Park Board of Education is judged on, is based on this. And this, every time we cut something, these type of enhancement programs are lost, and it's a shame because it's the children of the town, that are losing. I made an appeal last year, and we cut $1 million this year, a little kinder, I guess, $800,000, but there's no surplus in the budget. There's no capital improvement in the budget. And this is how, no capital improvement, no big deal. This is how you had a $42 million referendum, because every year that the budget got voted down, the first thing that had to be cut from the operations budget is capital improvements. So
may I interrupt you? May I interrupt you? You have the ability to put that on as a referendum, the capital.
I'm sorry?
You have the ability to put that on as a referendum, the capital expenditure. Okay, I'll let you finish.
But it's for the kids of the town. Everybody's so conscious, and yes, right now economics is driving everything. But everybody's so conscious. We want to have the best that we can with reasonable expenses. Well, you have a pretty good school program going here. You have the lowest paid teachers in the county. Okay, I think in North Jersey the third lowest paid district. Okay, that's wonderful. We're able to save money because, we put caps on things. But what happens is you also have tremendous turnovers. 32 new hires last year, of which, there's probably a turnover, almost 50% of those for this coming year. So you want teachers to stay. Mary, you stayed in one district your entire career, I believe, correct?
No.
No, I'm sorry, okay. I stand corrected. But, you want people to stay in.
It was two.
I'm sorry. Okay. But, when something cut, and I understand the logic, the budget was defeated and we have to cut some, but who's getting cut? The kids. It's the programs for the kids. It's not going to members of the Board of Education. It's not going to anything else. It's for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard?
Tester, 82 Elmwood Drive. I'm not familiar with these kind of proceedings. I'm just here as a parent. My understanding is
Talk into the mic, please.
that we're not budgeting at the state recommended minimum. So what you're telling me is my children sitting there aren't worth minimum. That's the future of the town. That's where your money should go. Pay attention to that. Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard? We'll do it from the back, and then we'll move on forward.
My name is Richard Rudman, 1 Paul Court. I just wanted to emphasize the words that Mr. Nangle spoke before regarding our school standings on the test scores. We were 6th in language, 6th in math for the high school. Out of 47, we were the 6th lowest in terms of our scores. Go to the middle school. In language, we were 16th lowest out of 76. Math, we were 6th lowest out of 76. And science, heaven forbid, we were 2nd lowest out of 76.
Which school is that?
There is something wrong when Elmwood Park can't have students that do better than that in all of Bergen County. And budget has to have something to do with it. Running of the school has to have something done with it. And I think we need to take a look at the whole thing and not just the dollars. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, Michael Oroz here of 208 Rudolph Avenue, Elmwood Park. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Could you spell your name for me, sir?
Sure, it's spelled O-R-O-S as in Sam, Z as in zebra. Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I would just like to throw my 2 cents into to what I heard also. And a few years ago, the mayor was gracious enough to marry my wife and I. My wife came from Romania. And I did a lot of work, but I brought 2 stepsons with me, her sons. Right now, they're going to be 19 and 20. What I met in Romania were the 2 most respectful and disciplined children that I've ever met in my life. Because I've always said I'd rather stick needles in my eyes than get married, and it was true. But I have given everything to these kids. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough money to send them to St. Joe's or a better school like that, and I sent them here to Elmwood Park High School. From what I see when I go in there for various issues, I think that the Board of Education should look at hiring Joe Clark with a bat. To be accepted into this high school is something that us as adults are completely overlooking. We're overlooking the fact that there, besides budget dollars and everything else, there are different quality, different lives, different lifestyles. And if you do not conform to those lifestyles, you're not accepted. Every one of us went through it in school and in high school. Okay? We were either a punk or we were accepted. I was in high school, and I can't tell you how many of the kids had their hands down the front of their pants. And I was going to call the Board of Health, but I said I'm not, I'm going to speak to it internally. Okay? Down the front of their pants, touching their genitals. They go and open up a door. Now my son goes up and up that door. He comes home from school. He touches a door. Now my 3-year-old just touched a penis. Okay? I think these are relevant issues that somebody should really look at because it's reality.
I think what you should do is your board president is here. Many members of your Board of Education is here. Go to the next board meeting.
I'm starting to get involved, Mayor. As you can see,
You're in
you
a
see me more and more.
for that.
But what I'm saying is that this didn't go on when I graduated in 1983. Please, I would like to speak as much as I can. Not as much as I can. I'm not going to take your time, but I would like to fill in the members of the council here and the board and Mr. Mayor that you know this Mill Street and 7-Eleven thing is not going to be going away. Okay. The one thing that I'd like to bring up and for the council and board to think about and consider is that that decision was based on and made on, and those people signed a petition based on something being built right away. Chances are that this decision is going to go to the appellate court. We have existing businesses.
Which decision?
the decision to allow the 7-Eleven
Route 46?
on Route 46.
Let me just
Well, this ties into the Mill Street
let me just address
plan,
that.
the one-way.
Let me address the
Yes, sir.
7-Eleven on 46. We had much more to complain about the 7-Eleven on the corner of Market Street and the Boulevard.
Right,
We won in Hackensack. They went to the appellate court, and we lost.
right.
And we had a lot more to go on. I don't think that we would have anything to go on with the 46 since it's on Route 46 and it's not in the middle of our town.
But as you remember, when their lawyer was here, and I think that I made him look silly, and I hope I did, is that the fact of the matter is that 7-Eleven is no longer a convenience store. By their own admission, they are a drive-in restaurant. And by the resolution of this town of Elmwood Park, when you read it, of what the drive-in restaurant states, is that any food that's consumable, eaten in the store, out store, or in a car, is considered a drive-in restaurant. If that's the case, they need as much parking as Wendy's does. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like I told you, Mayor, and the board, I only live a few blocks away, and there's definitely times I'm going to need a quart of milk at 2 o'clock in the morning or a pack of cigarettes. But you know what? When you take a whole look at the impact, the decision was made so fast about this without really taking into account. Dunkin' Donuts did not have the proper representation to address any of the issues that I brought up that night that were extremely, extremely relevant as far as I'm concerned. Okay? And what's happening now is that if this goes to appeals, because if their admission was 10 years ago, within the last 10 years, they've changed. It's just about 5 years ago that this was brought up in the first place. So we're talking about 5 years ago, opposed to the 10 years that they've done their study now and found that they are a very successful food operation. And it's in black and white. And if you all would see it and understand where they're going and heading with their business, okay, you would see it is not just a convenience store anymore. And I think the appeals court is going to see it that way. Hence, what I'm bringing up is that the established businesses located in that section right there, for example, Dunkin' Donuts, okay, and then the strip mall. What we have is these existing businesses that have been there for a long time are starting to be punished. And we do have proof of that, for example, with Dunkin' Donuts, okay? The fact that people can enter into Mill Street and get a coffee, but have to get onto 46 and drive a quarter of a mile to get home, okay, has been counterproductive. And that decision, I believe, should have been based on when and if the 7-Eleven itself is going to be going in and when it opens its doors. We've been premature, and we can be 3 years premature right now, but we jumped ahead. We jumped ahead in making a decision, and in one night there were do not enter, no turn, one-way signs, and that was it, without experimenting. Granted, it cut down on some late-night Wendy's traffic, but what's happening is it has turned people away from coming that way and doing business, hence sending people other places and losing hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day in revenue. And if this goes to an appellate court, if we multiply that, we're talking about somebody, that could be on the verge of going out of business. And we're talking about a strip mall whose value, whose rent, and everything that goes with it, a domino effect, once again, will just continue to go down. There, as the mayor explained to me, a one-way is 100% or nothing. Because in a perfect world, do not enter signs off of Route 46 would be great. A right turn only out of 7-Eleven would be great. However, with the Dunkin' Donuts and the way it's been set up for years with their entrance, okay, it would be great if people can make a right or left. But the mayor explained to me, a one-way is a one-way, okay? It's 100% or nothing. However, as we see on a new construction, say, for example, on Route 208, until the exit is open, there's a bag over the sign. I would like to see these signs bagged. I would like to see this put on hold Okay? And again, the people that signed the petition, you know, these were my neighbors, and these were the people that were on my side for the whole idea. But what happened was, everything happened so fast and premature that they don't realize it could take years, hypothetically, could take years for 7-Eleven to open up its doors. I don't want to reiterate, but I just, again...
I don't think it's going to take years. I think they're going to try to get in there as fast as they can.
Well, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect...
By the way, the planning board met, I think, for 3 to 4 months on this project. It wasn't overnight, and we had crowds of people here, even at the work sessions.
Correct.
I just want everyone here to know that this was not a quick approval.
No. But, you know, having been overturned in the appellate court...
If I could use the term, I held my nose and voted. I didn't want 7-Eleven. And we had to approve the one on Market Street at the Boulevard last night because we were ordered to. And I don't know if they were joking or not, but they said, Mayor, would you come in and
cut the ribbon?
And I respectfully declined.
Yeah.
I don't want to be associated.
Well, because I think we all know it doesn't take a brain surgeon to understand what kind of people this does attract. And again, I hate to use the word, but it's the word for the domino effect.
There's one in Saddlebrook that doesn't do a bad job. So.
No, they don't. They've been established for years, and I think the Saddlebrook police, not undermining our police at all.
With the help of the people in Elmwood Park, on the one here in the middle of town, with the stipulations we put on, they're supposed to be cleaning up twice a day. If there's any litter, just call my office, call the police, and
I would love to have
the
a
project
printout.
manager. I'm going to hand distribute to all the people in your neighborhood the phone number of the project manager of the 7-Eleven that's going up on 46, and please call his number day or night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, if you have litter.
I would
and he said I should do that, and I will.
I think we would all be enamored if we had a report of how many problems that the 7-Eleven on Broadway, since it had opened, has caused.
Well, the fortunate or unfortunate part about that is since they were coming in on 46 with the 7-Eleven, they cleaned up their act on 4. Now that they got approval here, I hope that doesn't go back to what it was.
Of course it will. I mean, you know, on the records, allegedly. Of course it will. But I'm just asking again because I think that the one way, okay, I'm not going to pull a filibuster. I always think of that when I talk too much.
Never stopped anybody. Don't be the first.
Like Senator D'Amato. What I'm saying is this. These signs that were put up have been enforced prematurely and right now are hurting the established business for 12 years. Now, when a gentleman is coming up with hundreds and hundreds of dollars difference every single day, okay, it goes to show you. Now, when you multiply that, that is the difference of keeping a gentleman or someone in business or putting them out of business, as well as the property values. And we know these are the things we don't want to happen.
Thank you.
However, you know, if, and I'm very confident, as I said, Mayor, with the appeal.
You appealing it?
I'll tell you what, Mayor, I never wanted a job in politics.
I'm not being facetious. I'm asking if you're appealing, because the town is not appealing it.
Well, yes.
You are going to appeal.
Yes, sir.
I wish you luck. I really do.
Thank you very much. I think I've uncovered enough information. And again, the night that the 7-Eleven lawyer was here, I don't think he expected a tornado he was going to meet.
From the town, you can obviously receive that information.
Well, maybe I'll get a key to the city. But I'm going to do my best to show you that by their own admission what they've done.
Okay.
Okay. I would just really please ask the council, okay, to reconsider the fact of these one-way and do-not-enter signs being enforced now. Okay, they're killing business, and not to say that in the future, actually, one business might not be able to feed off the other one. Okay, that's in reality, we look at the optimistic and positive as well. Okay, somebody jumps out of there and they need cigarettes and pretzels. They're not going to really prefer a 7-Eleven coffee over a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. That's for sure. So maybe in the long run, you never know, but it's killing us right now. And if it's going to go into appeals, like I said it would, there is a certain amount of time, and I'd appreciate if we could look at this and just suspend it. You know, we're not asking to remove it and, you know, everything that the neighborhood did say or ask to be done.
We'll discuss that.
But to suspend it and take it from there. I thank you all very much this evening for hearing me out, and we'll see each other soon.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Joe Ramos, 213 Route 46 West. I'm the building manager there for Dave Buck, the owner. He couldn't be here today. He's in Florida. When you have the meeting in June 5th, I believe it is.
When?
That's the final resolution.
Yeah.
He'll be up here.
Okay.
Okay. The businesses on Route 46 are suffering. I did see the numbers. Dunkin' Donuts is losing money. They are losing money. His sales have definitely decreased. There is a problem on Route 46. The cars are now coming through the back of the mini mall, cutting through the back of the mini mall and making that short turn onto Mill Street. When I guess they checked to see if any cops are out, and I was there. I've seen in a half hour. I seen 15 to 20 cars go through the back of the parking lot. They are speeding through the parking lot. Yesterday, I had to yell at a few guys. They were playing cricket in the back of, which was weird. I've never seen anybody play cricket. They were playing cricket in the back of the parking lot. I said, guys, you can't play here. You might get killed by the cars coming in here. Because they're actually traveling through the back by the Pinto, and they're screaming through the back, and they're making that illegal right now.
How could they make an illegal right?
There's an exit right there.
Didn't you take the fence down?
The fence is back up. The fence is back up.
But
there's still an exit there.
That created the problem.
Yes,
Let me
but
tell
there's
you,
still-
you illegally took the fence down. You illegally took the concrete bumper out. You illegally painted the white line for parking,
Yellow
a parking space, yellow line, black. That's all illegal.
Right.
If you didn't do that, I don't think the people would have minded maybe one car sneaking through at 12 o'clock at night.
They're still going through the one way.
Well, you gave them an out. You told them to sneak
Mayor, they're going through that no matter if the fence was there or if the fence wasn't there. They're still making that right-hand turn. There's the one-way sign right there. They're still making that right, whether the fence is there, whether the fence isn't there. They shouldn't be coming through the lot
No,
on
they
Route
should not.
46.
It's not a throughway.
It's not a throughway, right? And somebody's going to get hurt back there. Somebody, maybe the Dunkin' Donuts guy that's bringing the garbage out to the Pinto, he's going to get hurt.
Now, why?
The one-way has.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Why are they doing it?
Why are they cutting through the?
Yeah,
because they don't want to. They don't want to come through Mill Street because they see the sign. Do not
Okay,
enter.
you know,
They actually do come through Mill
I know
Street.
I know the town fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going west on Route 46, I would get off just before the boulevard. I would make my right turn onto the boulevard, and I would make my left turn at Rudolph or any of those streets and go into where you're talking about.
I was with the town inspector. The inspector. The inspector saw that the fence was put back up. He saw the cars coming down the one way. He saw the cars coming through the back of the lot and making the illegal right.
Now, those people I would suspect live there. That's why they're doing that.
I believe they're people from the neighborhood. The same people that probably signed a petition.
Then they're doing double damage because they want a one-way and they're sneaking around. I don't know.
I don't understand.
We'll see if we can get a policeman there and give out some tickets and see what happens, or even find out where they live.
Okay, but
okay,
this happens.
We have 5 minutes and then we have to cut.
Okay, this happens during the course of the day.
Okay.
There was a policeman there. The minute he's gone, they start coming.
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay. The one-way has affected the mini mall. The mini mall has been there for 45 years. The same family has owned the mini mall for 45 years. They've paid taxes for 45 years. Now, the curb cut on Mill Street, that's going to remain, or is that going to change?
The curb, they can come out that way, make a left out to 46. And we're not taking that.
They're making that. Yeah, they're making the. I'm talking.
He goes behind
7-Eleven. 7-Eleven curb cut.
7-Eleven curb cut is going to be exiting onto Mill and onto 46.
Okay. Now, there's an existing curb cuts on Route 46 for the Getty gas station. There's the entrance and the exit.
Couldn't do that.
That's there.
It's only going to be an entrance.
It's only going to be an entrance because the stores.
And every car is coming out on Mill Street. That's the problem we had. favor of having the entrance and the exit on the highway and forget Mill Street.
And Mill Street wouldn't have been a problem.
The DOT would not allow it.
That's the state.
Okay.
But
I would have liked to have that, and we wouldn't have this whole problem.
Everybody would like to have that. I mean, I'm sure the neighborhood would like to have that. The neighborhood doesn't have a complaint with the mini mall. They have a complaint with the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, let me give you just a little bit. How much time we have, Steve? 4 minutes. The entrance and exit for the Getty station was there.
Right.
When the Getty station opened up. They don't want it that way any longer because you're impeding the traffic going south on the Parkway. The exit is just, or the entrance is just west of that.
Mm-hmm.
So they have refused to, they wanted to correct a situation that was wrong in the beginning. They couldn't do it until they sold the property.
Okay.
But that's what I want, and I think that's what Mr. Castiglio, who's on the planning board, wanted that, and we wouldn't have any of this problem.
Right.
Please keep in mind that this town struggles and the planning board struggles to do what's best for the community. As all the books, when I taught history, say we're a nation of laws, and the laws are beating us on some of these things made by judges who live nowhere near Elmwood Park. In fact, I was very upset with the attorney they had the other night. And, he lives wherever he's living in a big house, and he comes here and sneers at us and is troubled when we ask him questions. And I don't think that's fair because he got the two approved, and that's it. He'll never be in this town again.
Well, Mayor,
unless they find another place to put a 7-Eleven.
Mayor, it's really unfair for the people that were there and the neighborhood that's there too. And that street, I mean, was for the neighborhood, and for the mini mall, and for the Dunkin' Donuts, and for the restaurant, and so on. Now that these people are coming in, they're making it difficult for everybody.
They certainly are, and one of the things that we'd have to do is a lot of people complained about litter, even from Dunkin' Donuts and so forth, into the streets over there. So we'll look at it again. I will tell you that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll cut it, Steve. Is there anyone else who wants to be heard? How long are you going to be, Bob? Okay.
Recess.
Wait a minute until he puts a new tape on. You ready, Steve? Okay. Give us your name and address, Bob.
Bob Irosi, 76 Caruth Avenue, with the Board of Education. I'd like to say that while the Board of Education most certainly respects the decision of the council with regards to the budget cut, we also have regrets with the number that was approved. I'm not going to reiterate any statements so eloquently made tonight by Mr. Nangle and other people. And also at our meeting where we stated some of our needs. The council full well understands that we're in the business of educating students. I look forward to the cooperation or the endorsement of the full council when we do go to referendum on some needed items. And I hope we can anticipate that for things like the roof or...
that can be placed on the ballot, is that correct? Mm-hmm. As a separate item.
I look forward to the council's endorsement of that.
I don't think the town, if I was mayor, I don't know if I can speak for the town, but if you had an item on the budget that said $500,000 and that's what you were asking for to fix windows at Gilbert Avenue School, I think the town would say, if the windows are broken on Gilbert Avenue School, let's fix them. And they know the money's going for the windows. I firmly believe that would happen. And that's... Excuse me? What's a supermajority? 60%. I think you'd get 60%. You can't get 50 because I think there's a deterioration of confidence that they don't know where the money's going. And I think once that confidence is restored, they'll vote for it.
We look forward to meeting that and turning that concept around.
Okay.
Actually, this year. And thank you again for your consideration of the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive, Elmwood Park. I'm a board member I'm in my 18th year. I respect the council's decision, as Mr. Irosi, President Irosi of the board, made a statement just a minute ago. The one thing that was quite disappointing a minute ago, though, or a minute and a half ago, was that about confidence. You had an auditor.
By the way, the confidence extends to the council also. I think people really don't...
We're not talking about the council. You made the statement about the Board of Ed.
Yeah, and I'm just saying I think it extends to the council also.
You're saying the council... You question the council's competence?
No.
Well, you just said it goes for both.
Yeah, I'm saying that I think the public doesn't have confidence in either the Board of Education in many cases, and the council, and the state, and the federal government. And that has to be restored. That's what I mean.
That's interesting. So you're saying you question the confidence of all our public bodies, you yourself or the people?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that if you took a poll of the people in this country, of the confidence they have in some of the public officials and some of the public bodies, they would not say that they are very confident, since President Bush has a low rating of something like 30%, and Congress has lower than he does.
Right.
So there's a lack of confidence.
But unfortunately, you made the comment about the Board of Education and having confidence in the Board of Education. Unpaid officials.
You can take it any way you want. I'm saying that...
Well, I'm taking it the way it was said.
Yeah, and I explained what I meant.
Okay.
Okay? It's like somebody, Barack Obama called one of the reporters Sweetie today and had explained tremendously what he meant by Sweetie. So we can pick on words.
No, but unfortunately calling someone Sweetie versus having confidence in somebody when a person raises an issue like that.
Mr. Freitag, the Board of Education has lost their budget hearings many, many times.
Right.
And I think you can say, and you would agree, that there may be a lack of confidence as to how much money is needed to run the budget, since they keep defeating it. And I'm not going to get into an argument with you, Mr. Nagel, over this.
I just want to make a statement.
No, the only thing I would like to say is whether or not there's confidence or not, there was a relatively low turnout, a defeat by 26 votes. On many occasions, Mr. Irosi brought up about the fact that a referendum is something we might be sought down the road for roofs and other additions that didn't get done with the prior referendum because it had to be trimmed down. But you yourself, and sitting with meetings with the council regarding budget cuts, on many occasions have always made the statement that we should put money aside for projects. And this is the first time in our meeting the other night where you mentioned you should go out for referendum. Was that a switch of opinion?
No, it wasn't a switch of opinion. You gave us some information the other night. Let me find it here. Hold on a minute. You gave us some information that you needed $500,000. Thank you. You needed $500,000 for Memorial School Wing 1 roof replacement.
Right, that was one.
And I think that if you told the public you wanted to do that the roof was leaking or something, I think the public would go for it. And then you put down you needed $400,000 for Gilbert Avenue exterior window replacement.
Right, which some of that money would also be supplemented by
and then in the last budget that you had, last year, I think there was money taken out of that budget to supplement the referendum that you had.
That's correct.
There's $1.4 million because there wasn't enough money in the last referendum to accomplish what you needed.
That's correct.
So that's what I'm alluding to, in the fact that the referendum that was passed is costing the taxpayers of the borough $2 million a year to pay that off until 2029.
Well,
by 2029, you're going to need roofs on all those buildings before the referendum's even paid off.
Unfortunately, the budgets have been defeated in this borough for many years. I've lived here 58 years. Probably when I was a young boy, I wouldn't know if budgets were approved or weren't approved, but I know while I'm on the board, there have been very few that have been approved for whatever the reason. And this time and over the last few years, we've been hit very hard by the cuts with the council, and this one was particularly hard. I had brought up about the fact that we will have no surplus. In fact, Mr. Lurch our accountant, Mr. Cerullo, in concert with Mr. Moffett, our business administrator, both agreed that there is no surplus in the budget. Was that what you understood?
Yes.
Okay. And there wasn't much discussion about that. It wasn't a give and take. It was simply that's what it is. In fact, I believe your accountant had mentioned some figures that were on the low end, and there was some on the high end, and there was a figure in the middle. So it wasn't even where it was approached on the low end where there would be a budget cut of a lower amount. It was simply this was the amount. Whatever the reason, that's what it came about to be. So for whatever the reason, I have no children in the school district. My son has graduated. He's a teacher. Mr. Nangle has a daughter who's a junior, will finish in another year. His other daughter's in college. They are successes of the school district, as I would like to think myself I am. And things happen. But still, at certain points, we are a very low spending district. Maybe the reason for that is because of the defeats. But I don't think overall that it moves the town forward in a positive way. And I'll say this just as an ending. Yesterday on NJ.com, which I read frequently, which has the Star Ledger's news, there was the council had met with the school board there, Monroe Township. I believe they have a $124 million budget. The council had suggested cutting it by $800,000, and in the end it was $700,000. Just interesting, the percentage there versus our total budget, what we were cut. I just hope that this year there was a concerted effort that the budget get passed. Didn't work out. It was cut by failed by 26 votes, a small margin. And myself, my own opinion, I don't know how the rest of the board will vote on that on Tuesday, how we feel about that, about trying to get some of the budget cut restored. And that's a process that will have to move forward over from the 19th forward. I believe we have 10 days or 10 days from tonight. But I would just say that I'm disappointed in the way things go. My confidence in the public is greater than that. I think that people elect people to do certain things. I think they look at the schools, the project as it turned out, and I think they see a positive thing. And I would think that seeing positive things and a positive outcome and passing a budget and having the council look at the budget and take a real fine-tooth comb and go through it and say that we're going to move forward in this direction brings good people into the town, keeps values up on homes and those sort of things. I know my own home. I have other relatives that live in northern Bergen County whose homes have accrued at a greater value, not only at a greater rate of accrual in value than my own. So our property values here have increased, but not incrementally the same as other places in Bergen County. And I think some of the reasons are we are a low-spending school district. We have a lot of people come here. That's what they can afford. But a lot of times I think we're penny wise and pound foolish. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Mr. Nagel?
You know, if I...
Wait a minute, we'll wait till after the meeting.
Okay.
Why can't you answer a question? Why can't you ask me a question?
I just want to hear, I called him up now. If you want to get up again, you can get up again.
No, you want to ask me a question.
When I come to the board, can I run their meeting?
Pardon me? No, there were interchanges going back and forth here. It wasn't a problem. So.
You know, Mr. Freitag, this is kind of going to make a decision here. Do you want to go into the Bermuda Triangle here a little bit? But I believe in what we looked at and where the cuts were made, and I think this really needs to be said because it hasn't been said yet. One of the biggest cuts that were found to be made was right just in the benefit savings area.
Right.
Which, you know, clearly money was placed in there as a buffer. I mean,
I will respond to that because what you're saying is not true. Because those figures were struck before the state health benefits plan came out with the 6-month freeze. Is that correct? Yes or no?
The item is in the budget that was pointed out by Mr. Lurch. It was never.
You're saying that we padded that?
I'm saying that there.
You said that.
Based on the analysis that you heard Mr. Lurch give,
right?
There was dollars in there based on the scenario he ran out, based on the savings that everyone is all municipalities and so forth are benefiting from. That there was monies there that could be taken.
Right, and I think there was an agreement by Mr. Cerullo, our accountant, that was true.
Well, this is what's new to me, because the other night's meeting, this is, you mentioned before about working on the budget and so forth. At that meeting on Tuesday night, I was kind of taken back by, like, no interaction from anybody.
I spoke up.
I know, yes, you did, yes, yes. But nothing else came from anybody else.
We were expecting
there was,
more.
The gentleman who substituted for Mr. Wilcox didn't defute any of the numbers.
Nothing.
I was just taken back by that, and
you do know that they spoke with one another.
Well, I want to explain something else.
Okay.
Maybe you're not aware of this. This council tried on several occasions to broach communication through the Board of Ed. It got to the point where our clerk had to get to the point where, if you don't get an answer today, we're going to have the policeman come over and make sure that you are certified.
I know, I watched it on TV yesterday, and I think the same thing was said on the 1st.
Excuse me?
Meeting on the 1st of May. Something about not being able to communicate.
Yes, so I want you to know that this council, I don't know, you could be I don't know how much, you have your opinion of your upsetness about what was cut, but we were waiting for dialogue back and forth. Dialogue happened that afternoon we met between the professionals.
Okay.
Which I found very surprised, because I know how much Mr. Nagel, the year prior, wanted to have so much going on prior to this. I mean, odds are, with how the budget has failed before, I'm just surprised there was no backup plan, okay, if it goes this way. And maybe there was. I wasn't at all your meetings. Maybe there was. Why we weren't even already broaching, hey, if it fails, when are we going to meet? These are the dates.
Well, I believe the next day, Mr. Moffett probably notified Mr. Kazmark, or within...
I reached out to Mr. Moffett first, knowing that the council was up against the timeline of May 19th, and knowing how long and the fact that we didn't meet until the week of the deadline during last year's defeated budget.
Right, okay.
So I myself was taken back by the other evening, that there was not more, back and forth. And I think with the mayor, well, he can speak for himself, he's been doing it long enough, but I also have been at a handful of your meetings recently, as you know. You see me there, you see us there, many of us there from the council. And maybe this is what I've heard some other folks say tonight about the confidence, or not of you, but I know that questions have been asked even by new members that have joined the Board of Ed, and even the current president, the new president, of expenditures that seem to have no one has an answer for. Like, for example, the cell phones, the fax machines. I mean, correct me, you know the number, so many hundreds.
I heard recalled the way those things were answered was...
We don't know where they are. We don't know who has them. Those were the answers I heard from Mr. Moffett.
No, I think actually it was regarding fax software, not a fax machine.
I remember there was cell phones that were purchased and fax machines.
BlackBerry, I think, was...
And no one knew. They were expensive. I think Mr. Iarossi was asking where they were, who has them, why,
and I
so
think the response was, I'll give you that information. I don't know exactly who has them.
But 2 meetings went by before. Well, those are your meetings. I only observed what I saw. But, there's some residents I see in the room here that I coach their kids. I know their kids. This is a tough thing to do. But, the Board of Ed spent, the administration, now I'm not talking about teachers and you folks. The Board of Ed spent how much on new furniture for their offices on 16th Ave?
I believe it was approximately $70,000.
$70,000. What was wrong with the...
Please, one at a time.
What was wrong with the furniture that they had from the other location?
Some of that filtered down with other administrators. Okay, and was located... I mean, we could go back and forth.
Yeah, I know.
We should have been discussing this last night.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
About furniture?
No, about the budget. The budget.
Well,
and Mr. Kazmark was ready to have a meeting with this council and the Board of Ed on a Saturday, if necessary, and we never got a response. So we met on Tuesday, and tonight is the last night we have to vote on.
Well, that I was not aware about anything on Saturday or anything like that. But regardless.
I don't think you will, and I say this with respect, I don't think you, maybe the board, was aware that there was such an effort being made on Mr. Kazmark's part on behalf of this council to meet with the board.
Through the mayor, there were 3 dates that were discussed, and what was most prohibitive of having the meeting was the fact that your school board administrator was attending the school board's conference for the entire week. I think it was last week. And that really took,
I think it was a few days.
That took
not
a
actually the
pool.
whole
It took
week, right.
well, it took a pool of dates away from the availability of your 9-member board and our 7-member municipal council to be able to get together and have a constructive meeting.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Frank.
Anyway, regardless, one other thing. Not a parting shot, but just sort of a little comment. The agenda. When you look at it, someone ought to read it and proofread it. It's absolutely horrendous. If the board were to get an agenda like this, the Board of Education, which to me, the council is important, not more important than the Board of Education, the grammar, the usage, absolutely horrendous. It really should be looked at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Newell?
Just rebuttal something you said, Mayor, and not to get, I don't like to argue with anybody. I go have discussions, but I don't like to argue.
I don't either, but it usually comes up.
Yeah, well, the issue about, apparently the confidence issue because so many budgets are voted down, because this is the only opportunity of taxpayers to actually
That's
make
correct.
cuts in their pay. So don't equate that to dissatisfaction. It could be dissatisfaction. I'd love to see him vote on the town budget too.
I would say that if the town had a budget, they would vote that down.
Probably. So, I mean, but and in years past, before I got onto the board, apparently the mayor and council was very generous as far as what cuts were taken from the kids. I mean, and you know what? Again, my daughter's a junior in high school. She's got what she's going to get out, and she got a wonderful education out of the district. But we're judged on the least student, not on the best students. We're judged on the least. And the only way to improve that is to start some of these enhancement programs that we can't because these cuts are constantly made.
Thank you. If there's no one else who wishes to speak, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Pellegrini, second by Mr. McLaughlin. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. And before we shut this meeting down, the dates to watch this: Tuesday 2 p.m., Wednesday noontime, Friday 12:30 p.m. Tuesday 2, Wednesday noon, Friday 12:30 p.m. Thank you for all attending. Yeah.
Wait till we all get there.
What?
Wait till we all get there.
Okay.
Leave.